learn how to paint your nails at home? Hey everyone, it's Cathy Zielske. Welcome back to my channel and the craft/dining room. Today's video is a little different. I'm going to share my updated mani routine for 2022. You see a lot of my hands here on my YouTube videos. But aside from making my fingers look presentable, home manis have been part of my self-care routine. It gives me a chance to have a little downtime, to have some creative fun expressed on my hands. It's really my other hobby. So today I'm going to share my updated routine with you for anyone who's interested, because here's the thing. For the cost of a mani-pedi at a salon, you can get set up at home to do this yourself. And I promise you'll get better. Go slow, use some of my tips, and we'll see what shakes out. My home mani video is coming up next. It's so good. Here's a look at my current mani kit. Now I keep my basic supplies in this cute little bin from Yamazaki Home. This is called the Tosca bin. And the tools in here are the ones that I tend to use for every single manicure that I do. I don't always go in with the full mani. Sometimes I just do a polish change, but today I'm going to show you at least the full mani on one hand, and it will give you a good rundown of everything that I use. Now, I don't always use my Cuticle Nippers. I do have them over there, and I kind of avoid them at all costs. I only clip hangnails, so hopefully this will inspire you if you're a clipper. But the first thing I'm going to do is shape my nails. Now, I shape with the polish on so that I can really see what the shape of my nail looks like. And even though I love the length that I have right now, I will show you how I do this. I've got my straight-edged olive and June clippers, and I'll go ahead and take very small cuts to shorten the length of any nail. And they're very small, right? I just take, you can even see the little clipping off there on the side, very small snips, and just kind of get the cut how I want it. Then I'll bring in my glass nail file. Now this has been a new discovery for me. I'm a big fan of glass nail files because I have nails that tend to want to shred when you file, but these glass nail files are so gentle, but yet they also do a fantastic job of smoothing out all of the edges that you're trying to shape. So this is how I do every nail when I cut and shorten them. And I probably cut my nails every 2 weeks because I don't like them to get too long. Love this file. Once I have the length and shape how I like it, then it's time to add a little moisture. Now this is a new step for me. The hand serum, this is a wonderful non-greasy product from Olive and June. I'm very low on it right now, but what I like to do before the mani is just really give a good coat into my hands and especially massage it into my cuticle area, just to start out with a little moisture. I'm not too worried about having that on the nail plate because right now my nail plates are covered with polish. Next, I'll open my remover pot. This is my favorite tool for removing polish. The Olive and June remover pot has a little sponge inside with an acetone-free remover, and then you just dip in and twist. I probably do this for about 10 seconds for each nail, and I probably replace my remover pot every 10 manis to 15 manis or so. It really depends. I want to freeze this for a second because I have quite a bit of staining on my nail plates, and that's normal if you wear a lot of polish without base coat. I have started wearing base coats now to try to grow some of that stain out, but if your nails stain, it's not a sign that anything's wrong. You just might be a person like me whose nail plates take on the pigment from certain polishes, but regular use of a base coat can help alleviate this. One of the things I wanted to show you is the difference between the cuticle and the proximal nail fold. The proximal nail fold is a living tissue, and I will link a really informative video below in the description from the salon life. A nail tech named Anna will explain it far better than I can. But let's move on. For the cuticle, you can always use a cuticle remover, and these are two that I really love, but today I'm not going to use anything because I keep up on this every week, so it's not too bad. This is my new favorite cuticle pusher, and what I'll do is just gently push on my nail plate, push the proximal nail fold back, and in the process, scrape away any of the cuticle. Now there's a misconception about what is cuticle on the nail. A lot of people think the fold of skin that covers your nail as the nail grows out is the cuticle, but that is not the case. The cuticle is the sticky white stuff that comes up as your nail grows, and it's coming from underneath where it's called the eponychium, and the cells shed, and that becomes cuticle. So that's what we want to remove on a nail plate, right? We don't want to cut and hack at the proximal nail fold. So this is what I do. I'm gently pressing, mostly in one direction. I don't scrape back and forth with this cuticle pusher. And look at all that cuticle that comes up. That is coming right up off my nail plate. Again, it's that sticky white material that shows up. Once I get it lifted and loosened, I grab my buffer. This is from Olive & June, and I take the edge of the buffer and gently go back and forth to buff away the cuticle that I just loosened. This is a much gentler way to remove the cuticle instead of grabbing nippers and starting to clip. Now I don't buff all over the nail because I'm always trying to preserve every layer of my nail plate so that it's strong and healthy. But this is much more gentle than it looks as I've got it sped up here, but it really is a great way to get all that cuticle lifted off the nail plate. Look at all that on my hands. This is another new tool I added to my routine, and it's got a glass tip on both sides, and it's a cuticle pusher. But what I like to do after the buffing is come in and just gently go over the area where I just removed the cuticle to smooth it out just a little more. Again, I go very gently here. I don't want to damage my nail plate. I just want to lift up any more cuticle, especially that's stuck to the sides of my nail plates. Then I'll dip back in the pot to clean it all up again so that my nail plates are nice and clean. And the dip pot is great for that. The only time I use my cuticle nippers is if I have an obvious hangnail or something that is sticking up that's just going to be a problem. But most of the time, something that looks like it's going to be a problem, again, with a little light buffing, you can usually take care of it. And once you moisturize at the end of your mani, oftentimes you won't even see it. So don't clip. Next, I'll grab this. This is a wonderful product from Zoya, and I'm almost out, so I have a little more on the way, but I use this for a final cleaning of my nail plate. I have these wonderful lint-free little squares, and I'll take a couple out, saturate one with the Zoya. It just has a little squeeze top, and you squeeze down. And I'm going to go over each nail plate. I'll use one pad per hand just to really do the final cleaning and prep for beginning to paint. It's really important to have a clean, dehydrated nail plate before you start. If you get chips on day 1 or day 2, sometimes it's the nail prep that is the culprit. So always prep. It takes time, but I'm telling you, it's worth it. Next, it's time for base coat, and I use base coat because I'm trying to grow out the yellowing in my nails, and these are two that I've really liked using, so today I'll use the Orly Bonder. I'm going to take just a little bit out of the bottle and drag it against the neck so I have a small bead. And here, when I paint my thumb, I like to hang it off an edge. I don't know why, it's my favorite way to paint. I'll do it differently later in the video, but I just wanted to show you that sometimes you really do have to find what works for you. And then painting the rest is very easy. I also try to cap my free edge on the nail, just because if you can do this, even with short nails, because my nails are not super long, it can again prolong the life of your mani and stop that chipping that can occur at the edge or even that little bit of recession. I let that dry until it's matte, and I also did the other hand off camera. But here's the real hero of the mani process. The Olive & June cleanup brush has changed the way I think about manis because you don't have to be a perfect painter if you've got a cleanup brush. Now here's my favorite red. It's called ES. I have these little swatch dots on top from Amazon. I just paint them on a separate little plastic thing and you pop them off and glue them on. Rather than shake your bottle, roll it between your hands because you don't want to get any bubbles in there that you don't need. But I do shake up my remover pot because here's a little pro tip. Take all the polish off your brush, as much as you can get off, and then just set your brush aside. And use the top of the remover pot to gently swipe around to get any mucky muck off the neck of the bottle. I like to start with a clean bottle and a clean neck as often as possible because sometimes, I don't know if you've ever had this happen, where you pull your brush out and somehow you pick up some of that mucky muck and you paint it right onto your nail and you wonder where that big chunk of mucky muck came from. It came from an unclean neck. So I do this before every mani just to start nice and clean. To paint, I am going to pull my brush out after dipping it in and scrape all the polish off one side of the brush. And I want to have about that much. That's what I shoot for. I often don't achieve that every time, but that is always the goal. Then I'll put the brush right in the lower part of my nail, push towards the cuticle, and pull. And my goal is to do that in 3 strokes. Now I don't always succeed in 3 strokes, but it's always my goal. And it blurs there a little, but I do try to cap if I can. It's harder for me to do that on short nails, but I also leave a gap. I never try to get right up against my proximal nail fold or the cuticle area because I like having that bit of a gap. I actually learned that from watching Matilda on video, and I will definitely link her channel below because I love her manicure video. But leaving a gap is a really nice way to keep your manicure looking really neat and sleek. It also tends to elongate your nails, and then you don't have to worry about flooding your cuticle. And flooding your cuticle happens when you push too hard and put too much polish down, and your polish goes right up over your proximal nail fold. So push towards and pull, and try to do it in as few strokes as possible. And if you can cap the free edge, give it a light cap. And that's coat 1. Then after my other hand is done, I set my timer for 10 minutes and I do nothing. I do nothing. Well, I mean, I usually watch something on Netflix or Hulu. Like I said, it's downtime. But as I get closer to that 10-minute mark, if there's any place that needs cleanup, and I'm actually getting pretty good at that first coat. It used to not look this good, but here's the game changer. Take your brush, your cleanup brush, and just tamp it down right into the top. Get a little remover on there, and then you can use that brush to clean up your lines. And this is really the key to a great manicure at home that makes it look so professional, is cleaning up the lines. Now it takes practice. I've done this many times where I put the brush right in the center and screwed the whole thing up, but you will get better. And when you tap the brush into the remover pot lid, you get just the right amount. I used to dip my brush into the pot, but that also kind of mucked up the bristles. This has been such a great way to get that brush wet with the remover and clean up the nails. You can also just dip right into a little glass jar of acetone that you keep off to the side, or any other polish remover, and I've done that as well. But the cleanup brush also helps you get any polish that you get on your skin off as well. Just go slow and get all of the mucky muck cleaned up. Once that's done, you can move on to the second coat, and this feels really more like a paint by numbers, right? You've already gotten the basic shape down, everything's in place, and now you're just deepening the color. This color ES is opaque in 2 coats. It's a beautiful 2-coater. Many of the Olive and June polishes can be beautiful in 2 coats. I often do 3 because I like my polish to look a little thicker on my nail because it kind of gives that gel look. But for today's mani, I'm only going to do 2 coats of color. Once the 10 minutes has passed on that one, and yes, I wait another 10, then I will come in and clean up again until everything looks perfect. and all my lines are smooth and even. Then it's time for top coat. If you don't have time to wait, you can always use a quick dry top coat like Sèche Vite or Sèche Vive. But for me, if I have the time, I'm going to use the Olive & June top coat. It's a wonderful top coat. It's formulated to work with their polish, and it is such a high shine, high gloss top coat, and when it dries, your nails really do have almost a gel look to them. So again, don't put too much on, right? I try not to overdo it. Sometimes I'm guilty of overdoing it. And if I get it on too thick, I do run the risk of bringing some bubbles into the mani. But again, I paint and make sure to cap the free edge as well. And then after I'm done with the top coat, I can do any extra cleanup, like if I got top coat somewhere where I didn't want it on my skin. And here's the last stroke on my non-dominant hand, just to show you that I did do the other hand as well. Once everything is done, it's time for dry drops. Now this is a magical solution that you put on your nails after your manicure's done, and it does two things. Number one, oh, and always have a cloth underneath because this is some oily stuff. It's going to hasten the drying so that your mani will be dry to the touch in 80 seconds. I put a drop at the base of each nail and just let it flow down over the nail. The second thing that it does is there is jojoba oil in it, so it restores moisture back to the whole proximal nail fold and the side of your nails, and it really makes the manicure look beautiful and shiny, and I love this stuff. Now, it is oily. Some people don't love the whole oily thing. I'm actually a big fan of oils, and I'll show you a few in just a minute, but when I do this step, I just rub the excess oil into my skin. Now, dry to the touch in 80 seconds means you can run your finger over the nail and the surface will be dry, but it is paint. It's not going to be dry all the way through, so take some time, let it dry, and once it's dry, we bring in the oils. Now, I love cuticle oils. I'll have all of these linked below. The CND is a wonderful low-cost oil. This oil from Body Shop is fantastic. It's really more of a serum, but these oils are so necessary for nails. And I have recently discovered this one from Dazzle Dry. It kind of has an essential oily smell to it, but I don't mind that. I actually kind of like it now, and I will put a bead at the base of each nail. And again, this is after my manicure is completely dry, so I'll probably wait at least 15-20 minutes, maybe a half an hour, and then gently rub this in. Oils are so important to really hydrate and nourish your proximal nail fold area and all the tissue around the nail. It's a great habit to get into. I do this at night. Sometimes I do it in the morning. Sometimes I do it in the middle of the day. I'm kind of obsessed with oils, and these are all fantastic. Once the oils are nicely rubbed in, then I move on to the hand creams as well. So I have a few that I love. I love the hand serum. I love Olive & June overnight hand treatment. And I love the Necessaire hand cream. This is a fantastic product that I recently discovered, and I am burning through bottles like there's no tomorrow. These are all fragrance free, by the way, which is fantastic if you have issues with fragrance, but they all are wonderful products. And the Necessaire lotion, oh, your hands will feel like little baby hands when you're done, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I love it. I will also rub that into my nails along the sides. It's just about hydration. That is something that is going to improve the quality of your nails going forward if you get into a regular habit. The last hydration step that I do every day is I use Cuticle Serum. This is a wonderful product. It is non-greasy, so you can put this on any time of day. It's not going to get on anything. I keep one by my computer when I'm working. I always put this on before I film videos because it gives a quick bit of nourishment and hydration and really makes the whole cuticle area look fantastic. And that's a photo of the final mani underneath a little light, so you can see how bright this color actually is. And yes, I am wearing a stunt sleeve. I don't wear my sleeves that long, but it really does look nice for the mani shot. Looks good, huh? Hopefully that inspires you to get into painting at home. If you are new, I strongly recommend checking out the Olive & June Mani system. Everything inside a box from Olive & June gives you the basics that you need to get started. I've branched out a little bit because I've been painting for quite a while, but the core Olive & June system is fantastic. I do have a discount code and a link below in the description box if you want to check it out. And I will see you back here soon with our regularly scheduled card content and a few manis that look good along the way. I always link what color I'm using, so if you're ever watching a video and think, wow, Cathy, that color is fantastic, there's always going to be a link in the description box to the color. Thanks so much for watching today. I would love to have you become a subscriber to my YouTube channel. And if you do subscribe, be sure to hit the gray bell below the video so that you don't miss the next time I post. Here are a couple other videos that you might be interested in watching. Thanks so much and have a great day.